What does every NFL team want from their rookie quarterback drafted in the first round in his first NFL preseason game? They want him to look exactly like Cam Ward did Saturday night against Tampa Bay. This is QB Unfiltered, my take, not a shocker.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
It's officially football season, and that means that theories and predictions and prognostications are going to be flying all over social media, but people really need to take a deep breath. This is the NFL preseason, and it is a totally different animal than regular season football. Now, I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs as to what makes it different in the preseason. As far as quarterbacks go, for the most part in the preseason, they are seeing vanilla defensive schemes, watered down schemes that are just basic. And really in the preseason for NFL coaches, they want to be able to evaluate their players. They don't want to give anything away scheme wise, and they don't want their guys to get hurt. That's the bottom line. So when a QB either lights it up or struggles in the preseason, you just need to relax. And like I said, take a deep breath. Okay, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel QB Unfiltered. As always, guys, I greatly appreciate the support. Okay, now with all that being said, I think we can take away this one thing, this one aspect of Cam Ward's performance Saturday night. And that was in his 2-series night that he played. He looked like a guy who's been playing in the NFL for 2 or 3 years. He was totally comfortable out there. He played with a ton of confidence. He was in charge. He ran the Titans offense. He had command of the offense. He had command of the huddle. That was his team out there. He didn't play with any nervous urgency when he dropped back to throw the rock. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that Tennessee's offensive line did a hell of a job with pass protection, but he just carried himself like a seasoned vet. And that's got to be totally encouraging to the Titans staff. I'm sure it wasn't a big surprise to them. And as I said in the beginning of the show, it wasn't a shocker. And, you know, this is how Cam Ward is built. That's how he played in college. I covered every one of his games last year for the Miami Hurricanes, and I was consistently talking about the fact that his level of calmness on the field, good or bad, going on around him, was something that really jumped out at me and is such a valuable commodity for any quarterback to have. You know, his teammates are going to pull the type of energy and the demeanor that he displays on the field and on the sideline. So when things aren't going good, you never see him in the tank. And when things are going good, you never see him jumping around acting like an idiot, right? He's always got that same look on his face, that same body language. And as I said, his teammates pull that from him, and that's a huge bonus for Tennessee. Now, I think that the Titans coaching staff played this one perfect, okay? And then they let him play for 2 series. Now, what this did was it was enough football to get his feet wet in the NFL, right? First NFL action, 2 series. He had a nice drive where he took him down for a touchdown. The other thing that this 2-series stint did for the Tennessee Titans coaching staff is it provides enough plays now that they've got of Cam on film where they can use it as a teaching tool. So, you know, there were things that he didn't do exactly perfect in that game, and it's all there on film to where they're going to be able to go in there and break that film with him. And you can bet your ass that Cam was probably watching that stuff when he was on the bus driving to the airport after the game. But to play 2 series and get all those snaps on film, that's invaluable to the coaching staff and to Cam Ward. And then the other thing is, you know, they let him do his thing and they got him out of the game. I think they handled the whole situation with him perfect. Okay, let's take a look at some of the pass plays that Cam Ward had Saturday night. Now, before we start with this, I've got to apologize, guys. You're going to see some of these clips are going to be chopped up and a little dicey and all that. I'm trying to avoid any copyright stuff, so just bear with me. Hopefully it'll make sense with what you're seeing, but I apologize ahead of time. And here we go. Okay. The first play here, his first pass attempt. Now, I want you to watch the routes by the play side or front side receivers. These are such bullshit routes, particularly this outside receiver who's just half-assing this little speed out, this little quick out. And what these two receivers do, and Cam is obviously keying this way, the right side, what those two guys do with their routes is they basically take themselves out of the picture, right? And they leave Cam Ward with no option on the front side. Now, here's what he does that's really positive. And this is going to sound elementary, but I'm telling you, there's guys in the NFL that cannot do this. So play side to the right, he's got nothing going on there. He snaps his eyes to the backside, and now his first backside read is this little stop route that they've got going on in the box. And that's a tough completion to try to stick it in there. I don't know if Tennessee has this in their playbook where that receiver can sink down, and if he's got that linebacker hugged up on him, he can snag it back out, and create separation. I don't know. If that's the case, then Cam needed to let him do that. I think he sort of hurried his throw here, and that's a tough completion. The point that I want to make on this is a lot of quarterbacks, even in the NFL, you will see when that play side routes are taken away, they say, screw everything else. Their eyes drop down to the rush, and now they're trying to figure out a way to get out of the pocket and make something happen. So this is QB 101. Quarterback coach and the OC got to be really, really happy with this first snap. It's an incompletion, but you got to love the reaction that Cam Ward had on this play. Okay, next play here. Cam's got a two-way go on this play. He's got the out route or he's got this little stick route in front of it. Both those guys are open. He decides to throw the out, but he's got to put it over the top of that underneath defender. He does a really nice job of throwing what I call a two, right? Taking some pace off that ball and putting a little bit of loft on it, getting it over that guy's head for a nice completion. Okay, now the Titans are running a deep crosser, and this is a great throw by Cam, but again, these hop steps that he's taken are making the ball come out late. Now, this is versus cover one, all right, man free by the Bucs. And the crosser is a great route versus that coverage, but I want you to look at what the free safety does on this. As soon as he recognizes that route, he starts diving down on that, screaming downhill. That ball needs to be out sooner, okay? And Cam takes those hop steps again, gets that ball out a little bit late. Free safety almost gets in on knocking down the ball or breaking up the pass play. It's a great throw, but I want to see Cam clean his feet up on those intermediate routes. Okay, here we go with the teachable mistake. And this is one that got away with in college. Okay, Tampa Bay's playing two deep zone, and the Titans are taking their outside receiver to the left. He's outside releasing and running that vertical route. Now, the cornerback gets hands on him, lets him go slightly, and Cam now in college is able to throw that hole shot where he puts it on a rope or on a line and sticks it in between the cornerback and the safety coming off the hash. But this corner now sinks underneath that route. So he doesn't settle and give Cam that big window to throw that ball in. He sinks underneath it, and Cam still tries to stick it in there. And this ball really should have been picked off. Now, also with this play, instead of throwing this ball on that outside vertical, Cam should have sensed that corner sinking underneath that and then brought his eyes to the number 2 receiver, over to the number 3 receiver, and then swung his eyes to the backside. And look at the running back here on this swing route. He's all by himself. Again, those are things that he's going to learn. And you can bet that he'll handle that differently the next time he sees that. Okay. Now, this next play, this is Cam's best throw of the night. His best throw of the night Tennessee is running a Kansas City Chiefs staple here. I call this the Mahomes and Kelsey special. And what they're doing with their receiver, he's running what I call a choice route. This is a complementary route to the deep crosser, where he's beaten that inside linebacker over the top and continuing to run the crossing route. Well, the choice route now, it looks like he's running a crosser. He wants to try to get that inside linebacker to turn his hips, and then he's just going to sink down and pivot away from that guy on this little choice route. Turns into like a little stop curl route deal. And Cam has got great feet here. So look how clean his feet are. And that ball is out on time, right? Now, this is why this is his best throw of the night. On these plays, you tell your quarterback to throw your receiver open. So if that defender is on the inside of this receiver to that receiver's right, then Cam should be putting it on that receiver's left shoulder, throwing the receiver open. But he's also got this factoring in. This safety now is diving down on this route on the outside of the receiver. If Cam puts that where he normally would if there was no safety there, that guy would have got tattooed by the safety. So what Cam does on this throw is he holds his receiver up. So he's throwing him open and he's holding him up, which means he's putting it in a position where he doesn't get lit up. That's a big time play by a quarterback who understands leverage and where to put the football. Okay, last play here we'll talk about. The Titans are running a mesh concept with the running back on a rail route, which is a vertical. Tampa Bay is playing man coverage, and you've got a running back now locked up in a guy playing man-to-man, and it's a race to see who's faster on that vertical route. What Cam Ward does on this play, which is great, and this is exactly how you coach it up. He's looking at the rail route, so you can see him keying that running back, and he knows it's man coverage before the ball's snapped. So he knows that on those mesh routes now, those guys, when they cross, aren't going to be sitting in grass. They're going to be continuing to burst and run. And so Cam goes from the running back and just slides his eyes inside to pick up that mesher coming from right to left, who's coming right into Cam's easy line of sight. And then it's just pitch and catch. Okay, looks like it's a easy play. Looks like it's an easy completion, but there's a lot of good stuff from Cam Ward's standpoint going on this play. All right, disappointing overall night for the Titans, but again, it is the preseason. And what are we trying to do in the preseason? The coaching staff are making evaluations on a ton of players. I mean, they got dudes on their roster that they know can play, right? And you're not going to see those guys get a lot of reps throughout the preseason, but they're evaluating the guys that they're not sure of, the guys that are on the fence, or they're giving the guys that are probably going to get cut one last look, okay? And the W is nice, but that's not the main aspect of these preseason games. The head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach have got to be very, very happy with what they saw from Mr. Ward. They got him with reps on film. He executed. He carried himself like a leader and the man on the field, and he walked off the field healthy. Okay, let me know what you thought of Cam Ward's first NFL game, and do you think he is as advertised? Okay, this is QB Unfiltered, and remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.